Right, hello. Welcome to North Ferriby Fan TV. Lost 3-1 to Winterton at home. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so, yeah. It doesn't, like, 3-1, you think, oh, well, next week, but, like, it's just the way that we lost 3-1. It really could have been 6 or 7-0. First half was even. For both teams played pretty badly, and then both teams had their good moments, I suppose. But the second half, it really did look like first versus last in terms of the table. Like we really didn't look third, and we've not. That's probably the worst I've ever seen them play. No one played well. People had good moments, but no one played well for us overall. Like I say, people had good moments, did good things, but that wasn't usually how we usually play a lot better than that.
We usually play miles better than that.
Usually everyone's always on the ball, but I mean, that's not all to blame. We did overall play very poorly, but there's other things like that. They were genuinely just really good. I guess you could say some of the referee's decisions weren't that great, but you can't blame the referee. We were just bad. Yeah, we didn't have it, especially second half. We just didn't have it in us. There was brief moments where you thought, you know, oh, here we go, we got some momentum going, but just nothing happened. And I guess maybe you could say that's because we were lacking in terms of how we usually are on the bench. I'm not saying the players on the bench are bad. I'm just saying in terms of how we usually are when we do get really good wins. We were losing. Tom wasn't even there. Lawrence wasn't there. And
Scott's gone,
who was really good, and some of the players that we got on the bench are all right, but you know they're not bad. They're just, I think we just needed better against a really good team. It just made a hard situation harder, and we just couldn't do it.
Yeah, I am going to talk about the ref, even though the referee isn't to blame for us losing. Winterton were a really good team. They kept pressing. They just pressed and pressed and pressed, and you know, like you should do. They were a really good team. I think they were really good at time wasting. Whenever we got the momentum, all of a sudden someone got a head injury, or someone had to tie their shoelace, or someone went down with an injury. You know, it's part of the game. You know, they played the game well. They kept pressing us, but I'm going to talk about the ref first. So right at the start of the game, he gave away 2 or 3 really bad fouls, the wet fouls for both teams. And I turned to Andrew and I said, that's it now, the referee's given really sloppy fouls, he's going to have to give them all now. And from that minute on, from those 3 fouls, he just gave everything that maybe looked like a foul. I don't think all the bookings were necessary. I thought, you know, one maybe was, but I think the referee had an atrocious game. I think the linesman who was on our side can't read the line, basically. Saying, I mean, we were offside a lot, but there was a couple where we definitely weren't. But they are to blame. The officials are to blame. We were to blame. The second half, I've not seen a second half like that for a long time. Probably the last game we played against Winterton at home, we had a second half like that.
I've not seen it. I'm not trying to say we were dreadful, and I'm not trying to, you know, have a little sulk about how bad we were, because I know that's what it sounds like. But I'm obviously willing to. I'm not saying that we're awful now. It's definitely a game to move on from, and I know we're going to do better.
Oh, we'll move on, and we will win other games. You know what?
I've not seen. I don't want to say something that bad, but I've not seen. There were certain moments where I just thought I was reminded of when I used to go to Hull City, and I don't want to be reminded of that. No. I mean, they're not that bad now, but back in the day, like, I don't know how they were in the Championship.
Yeah, we're not talking about Hull City. Anyway, so the second half, I'll tell you what the problem was. You could hear a pin drop from our players in parts of that game.
No.
Captain didn't even shout. He wasn't even shouting. I watched you.
I thought he lost his voice.
I watched you. He wasn't shouting. We were missing Loz, because Loz shouts. I mean, Danny Emerton shouts. But I kept shouting to the players. You know, they're going, pass it here, Joel, pass it here, Ewan, pass it here, Jamie, at that volume. Not shouting like they wanted it. Do you know what I mean? And I am pissed off because we didn't play as good as we can. Yeah, we did have 2 injuries within like 3 minutes, but I mean, Christ, Street came on. He's a good player. Ewan, you're a good player, Ewan, but you had an atrocious second half today. You've been really good for us this year, and I really rate you. But this half today, you were bad. I'm sorry, but then most of you were bad. Most of you were bad, and I know you're probably going to watch this and you're not going to like what I've got to say, but you were. The first half I quite enjoyed. He never. The first half I quite enjoyed. I think you were both teams. Yeah, both teams were quite well matched. You know, I think we played really well. Yeah, I think the first half was all right. It wasn't great. It was all right. We had a few really good chances, and their goalkeeper kept them in it. But the second half, you lot just didn't look like you wanted it. No one was shouting. Yeah, you were maybe going, pass it here, but there was no, will you pass it here? Give me the ball over here on the left. There was none of that. And I'm doing that in an empty Swanland, and I don't give a shit what I sound like. You lot were in a ground with loads of supporters, and I couldn't hear you. I could not hear you. I could hear them, but I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry. I love you all. You know I do. And I love North Ferriby. But that second half was bad.
It's just because I think the reason it's more brutal now is just because they usually do really well. So you got to be honest.
We've got a really good set. We've got a good squad.
Yeah, but you've got to be honest, haven't you? If they've got a bad game, you've got to let them know, because then it motivates them to do better.
I mean, I don't know why Tom and Loz didn't play. I don't know. I've only just found out today that Scott's left to go to Barton, which obviously I'm gutted about, because I thought Scott was great, but I can sort of see why he's gone. He's scored a few goals for us, and he's still ended up on the bench all the time.
I feel like
and now we didn't have Tom tonight, and we could have done with Scott.
Yeah, it's probably. I know it's probably quite frustrating for him being kept left on the bench, but I think it is the wrong decision to keep him on the bench. But I think if he'd have waited a bit longer and just kept proving himself, manager would have had no choice. But
we kept him on the bench because we play 4-3-3 as well.
I know.
You're having 2 strikers, Corner and Scott up front.
I know you've got a burning hatred for that formation, but
we don't play 4-3-3 though. That's the thing. That's the thing. And Josh Street played really well when he came on, but again, he was quiet. You were all quiet.
Yeah.
I know that's going to be a catchphase now. You were all quiet, but you were.
We're definitely missed Scott. I'm not saying he's the only good player. We've got a lot of good players that just didn't turn up today.
And it does sound like I'm spitting my dummy out because we've lost a game, but you know, and Winterton were a really good team. They were. I can't take any credit away from Winterton. They're a really good team. They pressed all of the time. As soon as we got the ball, if we got the ball in their half, they looked like they had more players than us. And if we got the ball in our half, they looked like they had more players than us. At one point, I actually counted to see if there was 10 Winterton men in red. I literally did, didn't I?
Yeah.
Literally counted to see if they had more than 10 players, outfield players. Not figuratively, no, literally. Yeah, it's been a bit of a long video, and we didn't even know if we were going to do a video. We didn't do it in North Ferriby. We got in the car, and then I've decided to stop in Swanland and do a video.
Well, it really does sound like we're sulking. It's not that. It's just that
disappointment.
I know it's kind of. I think actually it might be a bit like we're a bit spoiled. They usually do quite well, and now they've done bad. We're just not used to it.
Yeah, we probably are spoiled because we usually play really well, and tonight we just didn't.
I
didn't enjoy it.
I'm not saying it's the end of the world. I'm sure we'll do.
It's not the end of the world. We've got a good squad of players, and they are really good players. Tonight they were.
No, I mean everyone has an off day, but
they all did in the second half. You know, and you know, I just don't know. Anyway, I'm going to finish it anyway. Hopefully we'll just get over it, put it behind us, and look forward to the next game on Saturday.
Yeah.
And Swallow Nest has been rearranged for November the 10th. So Swallow Nest midweek game. That brings back memories from last year. Anyway, thanks for listening to our rants. Come on, the villagers. For the next games, let's get better.
Yeah.
Let's put it behind us and let's get better, even though I sound like I've not put it behind me. I will do. Alright.
Alright, yeah.
See ya.